Hi, everyone. My name's Will, and I'm a crisis counselor for the GZAP NJ Hope and Healing program. I'm here today with my partner, Con, and we're here to talk about strategies to prepare for the MCAT the week of the test during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, and we're going to focus on three major parts of strategies to prepare for the MCAT the week during the exam.
That's right. The first component we want to talk about is strategies to take during the days leading up to the test. Next, we'll discuss tips for during the test. And finally, we'll discuss recommendations for once you have completed your exam.
Great. So let's start with things to consider in the days leading up to the exam date.
First and foremost, don't cram the day before. You may be tempted to fit in one last full day of studying, but this can easily lead to burnout, or it can cause you to enter into the examination with higher stress levels than necessary. Instead of cramming, try to take the day off to do something you find relaxing and enjoyable to help you go into the exam well rested and less stressed.
That's a good point. You can also take this time to plan your day ahead of time. One thing you can do is to make a list of the things that you need, which you can then double check to make sure that you have the morning of the exam.
That's a good idea, Con. Also, make sure that you're familiar with the rules and restrictions of the testing site. Will you have to show proof of vaccination or provide a negative test beforehand? Will you be permitted to eat or drink on the premises?
Yeah, it's a great point, Will. Another important concern would be looking up the route and making sure that you know how long it will take, as long as the best route to get there to the exam location the morning of.
Now we're going to talk about some tips to take during the test. First, it's important that you anticipate and do your best to avoid any distractions in the testing environment. It's not your job to focus on eliminating these distractions, it's the test proctors. These distractions are not worth your time or attention.
Well said. And also experiencing performance anxiety while taking the test can be common. This can be common with difficult questions that stump you. I know I tend to experience it in the beginning during the first few questions when the pretest anxiety is still running high. It's important to calm yourself down and stay in the present moment during these times to keep your mind from running away with anxious thoughts.
Great point, Con. Another great way to curb testing anxiety or performance anxiety is to get yourself back to a state of relaxation through diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. One easy way to practice this technique is by keeping one hand on your belly and the other on your chest. Try to take slow breaths in and out, only expanding your belly. And try to minimize the movement in your chest as much as possible.
I like those exercises. I know for me, breathing exercises are a great way to stay calm and centered when experiencing anxiety. Also, we understand that test taking strategies can be highly individualized and that each person has their own preferences for what they find to be effective. So it can be helpful to reflect on what has worked for you in the past while taking exams and possibly use those strategies while taking the MCAT. As a personal example, one thing I do when I'm stuck on a question during an exam is to skip to other questions or sections and come back to the one I was having trouble with when I can answer the other ones I can get faster out of the way. However, like I said, it is subjective, and keeping in mind what works for you is important to consider before going in.
Great point, Con. Another good idea is to keep the focus on yourself and don't pay attention to how others seem to be doing during the test. Everyone works best at their own pace, and fast test taking doesn't always equate to higher test scores.
Great. So now let's go over things to keep in mind after you've taken the MCAT.
Once you've finished the test, you should do something for yourself. Maybe take the rest of the day off. You've just reached a significant milestone in your career, and it's important you celebrate this fact. Maybe take this time off to yourself and find a meaning way to celebrate this milestone. You've earned it. We understand time can be limited, but even taking a day or an afternoon off to do something you enjoy and have been meaning to do can be extremely refreshing. This could include meeting up with friends, going for a short trip somewhere, or taking some me time to read a book or watch a movie that you've been holding off on.
Yep, and it's also important to be wary of ruminating after the test. So it can be common to go over your performance on the test over and over and over again. And this can be especially be salient when it comes to questions you've had trouble on. A good way to cope with this is to remember that ruminating about it after the fact won't help you or change the outcome. Also, this kind of thinking leaves out all the questions that you had no trouble or probably even did well on.
That's a great point, Con. Don't let your anxiety about this test get in the way of enjoying your time off. This test is designed to be difficult, and most people have negative memories associated with their test taking experience. Your test score is just one of the many things that you bring to the table as a candidate for medical school. It's important that you don't forget about all the other amazing qualities about yourself and you as a candidate.
Well said. So that about does it for this presentation. However, feel free to check out the additional webinars we have in our Planning for the MCAT during the COVID-19 pandemic playlist on our YouTube channel, in addition to other videos that you may find helpful.
We've also included in the description links to our Instagram and our website where you can find our resources and services, and our email address where you can use to contact us.
The Center for Psychological Services, CPS, of the Rutgers Graduate School of Applied and Professional Psychology, GAZAP, in collaboration with the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services, Disaster and Terrorism Branch, offers this crisis counseling program through a Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA/SAMHSA grant. This program is brought to you through the New Jersey Hope and Healing Crisis Counseling Program. And thanks for watching.